Tonight, Donald Trump is ramping up his threats against Greenland, suggesting that if the United States doesn't take over, its adversaries will.
We are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not, because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland, and we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor. Okay? I would like to make a deal, the easy way, but if we don't do it the easy way, we're going to do it the hard way.
Top diplomats for Greenland and Denmark met with the White House on Thursday as Greenland continues to insist that it is not for sale. One fascinating piece of information in the CNN reporting on this is that despite Trump proclaiming he wants to purchase Greenland since 2019, neither he nor anyone else in the administration has ever privately broached the idea with the Danish or Greenlandic officials. That's according to diplomats familiar with the issue. So what is this all about? They just want to make a bunch of noises about it, even though they're not offering a price? Or do they really want to threaten Greenland at gunpoint?
We're not threatening Greenland at gunpoint. They do want to make a deal. The correct answer here is he's negotiating. And his impulse on this, his strategic impulse, is not only correct, but it is rooted in over 150 years of American strategic thinking, no less than William Seward wanted it.
But if it's not a gunpoint, then why did he say the hard way? What's the hard way?
He's negotiating.
What's the hard way?
That's not a negotiation.
The hard way is not a negotiation.
We're going to buy it. My prediction is we're going to buy it, and we'll all be happy about it when we do. Denmark should talk to the president about this because, A, they don't have the capacity to defend it from the Russians or the Chinese.
And that is why they are in NATO.
And B, they don't do a good job of it.
Guess what, Scott?
Anyway, so
they are NATO allies.
Right.
So if they don't have the capacity,
and they have
that's
21,000 military people.
Yeah,
but
that's what
it's
we're,
a population of 56,000 people.
No, we're not here. I know we are, but if we're obligated to defend it and we can do a better job with it, why isn't the president in his right to say maybe we should just own it?
But that is the whole point of NATO.
There are people who live there.
And if the United
30,000 people.
56,000 people, and
if they voted to join the United States, that would be amazing.
But they didn't. They're not voting to join the United States.
So this weird
ass. But they have said that there was an extensive report on 60 Minutes where they were clear.
Oh,
they
60
had
Minutes said it? Oh boy.
Yeah. Well, your favorite girlfriend Barry Weiss runs it, so I thought that 60 Minutes was good with you guys. But the point is,
talking to these people.
Why don't but they're not trying to talk to them. And the point is, if we go in and we're saying we're going to take Greenland the hard way, they are a member of NATO. That means our European allies are obligated to protect Greenland. And we basically, since Donald Trump has come in office, he's threatened to annex Canada, the Panama Canal, and now Greenland. His global ambitions are starting to mirror that of Putin, except we are Russia in this.
You're arguing that the hard way is militarily. I don't think that that's necessarily what he means.
So what is
that is precisely what he meant.
We have to go deal with the vote in Greenland and get them all on board to vote.
Okay.
You know that's not what he means. There's lots of hard ways to do
things. It would be so great to the audience to not piss in our face and tell us it's raining. He is not talking about having any kind of negotiations. We have seen his negotiations in Nigeria. We have seen his negotiations on the global stage with a lot of other places. It's ridiculous to suggest that. He is talking about, when he says the hard way, we are very clear on what he means. This isolates us even further. This isolates us even further on the global stage with our European allies. And they've been an amazing ally to us. They showed up during the Afghanistan war disproportionately to other nations.
Where this intelligence is that says a threat is imminent from China and Russia. This is why the American people sit at home and go, I can't believe these people are running the country. Do you really want people to think that China and Russia are going, I got to have Greenland. I don't care. I'm going. You know what Trump is doing? He's treating Greenland like it's a condo with bad curb appeal, and he's going to come in and clean it up.
You seem to be...
So here's the thing. There's also another country between us and Greenland. What is it? Oh, Canada. So Canada, who's an ally, is never going to come to our defense if there is an attack in the area of Greenland. This is just a power play. And Venezuela was just the appetizer.
Let me play what Trump said to the New York Times. let me play. This might answer your question. Trump said to the New York Times about whether he would sacrifice NATO for Greenland.
If you had to choose between obtaining Greenland and preserving NATO, what's your higher priority there?
Well, I don't want to say that to you, but it may be a choice.
I don't know if the threat here is that he's going to threaten to dissolve NATO and try to force the hand of the Danes to somehow sell him Greenland. But that seems like a pretty risky bargain to strike here.
That's a silly question. These are not either or propositions.
Then why did
We're
he say it
negotiating.
may be?
Because
You
he's
can't-
non-committal about
doing.
everything.
Scott,
He's non-committal
Scott,
about
hold on.
everything.
I just love how you're like, that's a ridiculous question. Meanwhile, Trump is like, yeah, you're right. It might be a choice.
Right.
He's non-committal about
I
everything.
mean, do you believe
are-
that Trump says what he means? Do you believe that he's smart enough to answer a question if he thinks
Isn't it a
it's
really
ridiculous?
simple
Are you-
question?
are you guys-
Are you going to sleep better at night knowing that we own Greenland?
Yes.
Are you losing
Yes.
sleep?
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
not.
Absolutely.
I mean,
Well,
you,
look, I
you,
mean,
you only seem to be but moderately familiar with the shape of the Earth and the globe.
No, I hear it's
It is
round. Is
sitting.
that
It
right?
is sitting right between us and Russia.
Mm-hmm.
You do have Russia circling around. You do have China circling around. It has critical Earth minerals.
It's been circling around for decades
we
and
already have
decades.
military bases there.
Just because it's there doesn't
Precisely.
mean we
We
can't
already have
defend it.
military
without
bases
arguing.
and Europe
there.
and
But you're
Europe
talking about
and
these
Denmark
things,
has done a
Scott.
great job with this. We could do well with this,
Why
and we
can't
could
we
do
do
well
We
by
can do
without
well with a lot of
occupying
things.
it?
But we can do well with a lot of things, Scott. How does that justify going in and colonizing a country? Just I want it, so I'm
It's
going to
a big
take it.
iceberg.
Listen,
You cannot just go
continue
into
to ask the
somebody's
question,
homeland and say it's
if
mine. I
Trump
want to
is
take it.
serious about buying Greenland.
It's not
why
Denmark's
hasn't-
homeland.
why
They
hasn't
took it
he
over.
It's the
made
people who
an
live in
offer?
Greenland. It's their
Why
homeland, and they
hasn't
said they don't want to
why
be a part
hasn't
of
he
America.
actually raised this issue privately?
Well, we
with
don't know if he
Greenland
has
or the
raised it
Danes?
privately or not.
Hey, the reporting I just read to you
Well-
is that they have never, since 2019, when he first brought this up, they have never raised this issue privately to the Danes or to the Greenlanders. Why? If he's so serious about it, why hasn't it ever come up privately?
I don't know that it hasn't come up privately. I don't care that it was reported that way. President Trump's been clear on this. And by the way, again, there's no military action that's going to happen here. The hard way does not mean we're
How
going to
do you know
send
that?
troops in.
You might wanna tell
because you
Stephen
don't even
Miller
need to
that.
do that.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
30,000 people.
You might
there.
wanna
Stephen
tell
Miller doesn't
Stephen
even know
Miller
that
that.
Denmark legally owns the place.
The whole point of this is that every question is to try to get some way that Trump wouldn't go after Greenland, meaning like the NATO thing. Would you dissolve NATO or give up Greenland? That's an idiotic question for a reporter to ask.
It's not.
Let me
How is
ask
it
you,
an idiotic question?
aren't you concerned about the
I mean,
message to the world if this
He has
happens? Which is
strengthened NATO at every
Guys,
turn.
This makes the world cynical.
If it's an idiotic question, if it's really off the table, the White House could take it off the table at any moment. They could say we
He
are
doesn't
not
negotiate
under
with
any
reporters, Abby. He
circumstances
never has.
considering invading a NATO ally. They could take that off the table. That would not be an unreasonable thing to do. They are the ones not doing that. On top of that, then you have Stephen Miller saying it's about force and it's about power and we can do whatever we want. Greenland belongs to us. That's what he said. So look, my question actually, I think buying it might be the only way because invading Greenland would be catastrophic. But I'm still wondering, what's the price? What's the price that Trump's willing to pay? What's the price the American people are willing
Well, you
to
have
pay?
30,000
And that
people
there's
there.
no answer to that question.
Well, here's an easier
It's
answer.
57,000.
Well, whatever you pay, a certain number of those people, if there's a certain amount of money, they're going to vote a
If it's
certain
a
way.
small number of people, does that mean they have
That
less?
is not how purchasing entire countries
And are their
works.
rights any
But
less because
next
it's
for
only
us, the president takes a
57,000
policy page from the one and only Bernie Sanders involving credit cards. We'll debate that next.